Seasons.
Love this track.
Oh, well, thank you. And this definitely started as a commentary on how we were always surprised about the heat during summer and the cold during winter. Like, we were always caught off guard. People complained like we weren't prepared about it.
Like it never happened before.
Yeah. And so that inspired some of it. And then so it was building around winter and summer. There were separate jokes about summer, but the winter, it became very apparent that I really couldn't talk about winter without addressing, I think, kind of like the Midwestern American view. Like, the association with winter is very just archaic in a way. You know, we're just we become used to it. And actually the severe winters make you appreciate summer. That line was actually a guy, when I was doing a show in Winnipeg, a stagehand said that to me. I'm like, well, it's freezing. I think it was like October and it was snowing or something like that. And he was like, these severe winters make you really. And so I attributed that to my dad, but
because it sounds like something he would say.
Absolutely. And
but then in a separate area, the leaves thing came out.
Yes.
And then it became very clear that we had these 3 seasons.
Yes.
And then I pushed to add spring.
Yeah, you made a point of pushing to add spring because it was like, you have 3 of the 4. You have to complete the entire group.
And there's not much on spring because there's not much of a spring. And that's what became the joke about spring.
Right. And I would also say that, on the winter thing, when we were talking about Midwesterners, we had a joke that you came up with, which was great, that we had to cut, which was about how it morphed into a different version.
Oh, I'm still angry about this.
Which was about how people were tricked to move to the Midwest.
Right. So we have the bit now about the con artists trying to get people to settle in the Midwest instead of going actually west.
Yes.
And calling it the Midwest and the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
But there was a joke initially where the guy was trying to push them on settling there to go there, but it wasn't great. So the people were kind of lazy. So what I had proposed that we were going to say was, okay, that's why they're called settlers. Because they're like, yeah, it's not great, but I'll settle for it.
Yeah, I have to trick and treat in my snow pants. Yeah, all right.
I'll settle.
I'll settle with it.
But
you want to settle with me? We could be settlers together.
Yeah, we'll just settle for it.
But then...
And it was great. All of a sudden, 3 months after we've been performing this, you go ahead, Jim.
So we got off this summer tour where we were on a bus, and we were very excited about, as you build a chunk, there's pieces that make you even more excited to come up with more material. And we saw a series of commercials.
That used the settler joke.
Yes. And so, no, I think it was 6 months later where we couldn't determine if they saw us do it or if it was just parallel thinking.
It would be such a weird coincidence. The timing was so weird. But they went to the next level where people were dressed like settlers and they were we're just going to settle. And it was the exact same joke. So we had to cut our joke because it looked like we were being derivative when actually it was our original idea before this commercial even came out. So that's one of the casualties of this special.
Yes. And then what I would also say is that the foliage, and I'm about to get to it on the next track, which Mary Had a Little Lamb, but the foliage in the Northeast, particularly in Western Massachusetts, is so stunning, or in Vermont. It's so beautiful. You kind of get it. It's like when you go to Paris and you see how beautiful Paris is, you're like, oh, maybe I understand some of their arrogance. And so the foliage thing in Western Massachusetts, you realize what beauty it is. You realize why someone would drive. But, so I understood the appreciation for it after I had established some of these jokes about foliage, about the fact that we're just enjoying the death of a leaf.
Yeah, and also the fact that it's as if we did anything to create it.
Yes.
The pride people take in it. Is that, it's like taking pride in something that you have nothing to do with.
And some of the summer jokes, I would say, I think it was inspired by, your love of summer. Like people that love summer, like that are like sad when summer is over, which you're one of the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's, there is, I mean, I think that kind of inspired some of the winter nostalgia for summer.
Yeah, like you take out pictures of summer.
Yeah.
Like summer becomes personified.
Yeah.
Like a family pet that passed away. But can I just really go back to the leaf thing? Like the leaf thing, to me, about the leaves dying is sort of this alternative way to look at things that, when you look at something and take it as face value, we don't really think about the fact that this beauty that we're marveling at is actually death.
Yeah.
Which is kind of heavy.
Or in which we kind of go on further with raking up the leaves.
And lighting them on fire.
Yeah, kids jumping in them.